I'm going to walk you through how to use PEGS to show your work on a problem. I'm using as an example number 1 from the worksheet that you have in front of you. So go ahead and follow along on this one. The first thing I want you to notice is after each problem, there are 3 words in italics. It says sound, EM, and other. I want you to read each problem and identify which type of wave it is. The reason to do that is if it's a sound wave, you'll need to use the speed of sound, which is 342 meters per second. If it's an electromagnetic wave, then you'll need to use the speed of light, which is 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. You should also have both of these numbers on the reference page of your notebooks. In this problem, I can read it and it says, what will the wavelength of this sound produced? So that tells me that this problem is about a sound. I'll go ahead and circle it down here. I want you to circle which of those terms best fits each problem. Once I know it's a sound wave, I can put in the space for my given information 342 meters per second. Remember, you need to put units on all of your numbers in here. The next step is to identify the unknown. That's what I'll write in this space for problem. When you're looking for the problem, it can be helpful to look for words like what or how much. Usually that unknown is going to come near words like that. This one says, what will be the wavelength? So my unknown is wavelength. Instead of writing the word, I want you to write that symbol for wavelength. That's going to be really helpful when we get to electricity and magnetism and have multiple different equations that you need to choose between. The next step is to find our other piece of given information. So I go back to reading the problem. What will be the wavelength of the sound produced by an A tuning fork? And then it gives me the frequency. I know that's frequency because it's got units of Hz or hertz. Anytime you see that unit, you're dealing with a frequency. And I'm going to write the frequency in the same space as where I put the speed. You're going to list all of your given information in that one little box. The next step is your equation. These are going to come back to the only equation we have so far. Again, this should be on the reference page of your notebook, but it's this one where V on top, then frequency and wavelength on the bottom. If you cover up wavelength, what you have left over is speed on top of the triangle and frequency on the bottom. So that means that wavelength is equal to speed divided by frequency. The last step is to plug in numbers. So instead of writing V, I'm going to write 342. And then instead of writing F, I'm going to write 440 hertz. And I'm writing a little bit too big for this box, but that's okay. Now, when you punch this into your calculator, you're going to get a whole bunch of digits after your decimal point. I only want you to write down 2 of them, so you'll need to round a little bit. And when I rounded this, I got 0.78, and then the units for wavelength is meters. The very last thing I need to do is put a circle or a box around my answer, and I am done with this problem.